Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, confirms the Bitcoin price rocket and says that the current development is impressive. Are we going to see Elon Musk double down on Bitcoin soon and keep pushing it with Tesla and all? Bitcoin is accumulating. That's what some people in the Bitcoin community are thinking now. We also see Donald Trump congratulating the Bitcoin community on the Bitcoin price in US dollars. How crazy is it that a president is congratulating the Bitcoin community here? In Germany, that would be unimaginable. And now we actually have the next country that has introduced a Bitcoin reserve strategy. We'll take a look at that too. The signs are really pointing to a bull run right now. It looks like the media interest is back now. The big media outlets are all weighing in on Bitcoin now, some positively, some negatively. I need to dive into that in a new video because a lot has gone down in the last few hours. But the current development is very, very positive. Interest is coming back again. People are calling in, "Hey Mark, wow, thanks for giving me the tips. Thanks for helping me get into Bitcoin." I hope you all feel the same way, that people in your circle are starting to get excited about Bitcoin again. Nayib Bukele, the president of El Salvador, actually posted his Bitcoin holdings, and you can see that he's up 300 million in profit. So here's a big shout out. A lot of congratulations are going out to Nayib Bukele because everyone was hating on him during the whole bear market. And now he's winning, just like you all as Bitcoin holders are winning now. And Elon Musk writes underneath this tweet, "Impressive." So he's impressed by the current Bitcoin performance, and that's a very bullish sign, because Elon Musk is definitely someone who has a lot of influence in the Bitcoin space. Of course, Elon Musk can't just pump the price up or down, but a lot of people are still waiting for the turnaround when Elon Musk starts accepting Bitcoin payments again. He did say that if there's a change in the energy mix, then he would accept Bitcoin payments with Tesla again. Could very well be that Elon Musk will announce this in the next few weeks or months because, from what it looks like, he's definitely impressed by the current Bitcoin performance, and he's also made some massive gains with Tesla and his Bitcoin holdings. He said that if there's a change in the energy mix, then he would start accepting Bitcoin payments with Tesla again. Could very well be that Elon Musk will announce this in the next few weeks or months because, from what it looks like, he's definitely impressed by the current Bitcoin performance, and he's also made some massive gains with Tesla and his Bitcoin holdings. So let's give an example here. Here, El Salvador has invested 269 million in Bitcoin and now has unrealized profits of 303 million and 30,000. It's mega crazy how huge the profits are now and how the Bitcoin story is now striking back, and all the people who have hodged through are being massively rewarded. My deepest condolences also go to Saxony and the German government for selling their Bitcoin at almost the worst possible moment. So a big shout out to the German government. They clearly didn't get it, but other people do, like Donald Trump. Right now, there's really a race going on for Bitcoin reserves. Donald Trump. Right now, there's really a race going on for Bitcoin reserves. And here we have the next sign that really suggests Donald Trump is going to introduce a Bitcoin reserve. The next US president, Donald Trump, congratulates us Bitcoiners on the Bitcoin price in US dollars. These are really wild times. He says here, "Congratulations. Welcome to the Bitcoin price." And then he says, "Together we will make America great again. So let's make America great again." And that's really, really impressive. I mean, we have a president now, which you couldn't have imagined a few years ago, who suddenly says, "Hey folks, it's awesome that Bitcoin is at US dollars." But that also means Donald Trump clearly wants to pump the Bitcoin price. We don't have a president who's neutral or anything like that. He definitely wants to pump the Bitcoin price. This is a clear sign that he not only wants to improve regulation, but also wants to position himself per Bitcoin. And of course, he wants to capture voter support. We don't have a president who's neutral or anything like that. He definitely wants to pump the Bitcoin price. That's a clear sign that he not only wants to improve regulation, but also wants to position himself per Bitcoin. And of course, he wants to capture voter support. He's managed to do that. The Bitcoin community largely stands behind Donald Trump, but it's also showing that he wants to pump the Bitcoin price. And where's the end here? He's not going to stop opening up to Bitcoin now. The higher the Bitcoin price goes, the more pressure there is for him to introduce a Bitcoin reserve strategy. The more nations outside the US open up to Bitcoin, the more he's forced to implement a Bitcoin strategy. We already talked about this in the last videos. Putin is opening up to Bitcoin. We also had other nations, for example. China has loosened up on this and so on, and it's really wild right now that we actually have support for Bitcoin at the presidential level. I mean, the richest man in the world, Donald Trump, I don't even know who else you could possibly get to jump into Bitcoin. And now there's actually some news from Microsoft, because in just a few days, they're going to vote on whether Microsoft will actually buy Bitcoin. So we have Tesla, where I already mentioned what could potentially come into play, because Elon Musk is speaking very, very positively about it. Of course, we shouldn't overinterpret this, but now there is actually a leak from Mark Moss, and Mark Moss actually says that there is a secret meeting between Michael Saylor and the Microsoft management. He actually released that in a podcast. Of course, you could say, okay, Mark Moss, who is that? Just some YouTuber or something. But Mark Moss actually creates some pretty cool content, and he definitely shared the info that Michael Saylor didn't just spend 3 minutes pitching Microsoft. It seems they actually liked the pitch. And it seems there are more talks happening here. I don't know to what extent, because Michael Saylor never makes that public. He always says that when he meets with billionaires or big executives, it always stays a secret for him. So he doesn't make that public because he obviously wants to protect the people involved, which is totally understandable. But it's really interesting that we're seeing some exciting developments at Microsoft again. The price of the US dollar is really making a lot of people rethink things right now. And now we actually have the next country that wants to bet on Bitcoin, and that's Chile. It's not exactly a megastate or anything, that's for sure, but more and more countries are starting to bet on Bitcoin. They want to introduce a Bitcoin reserve as a counter-response to the International Monetary Fund and also to other foreign reserves, like, for example, dollar, euro, ruble, yuan, and so on. This means that we now have the next, well, I don't know if you can say big player, but definitely the next country that wants to bet on Bitcoin. And this is also the global game theory that's really playing out worldwide, whether it's in Asia, South America, Central America, or North America. Okay, not Europe, but in most countries. Or rather, in most continents, we're actually seeing movements around a Bitcoin reserve strategy, and that could really push the Bitcoin price up significantly. And now, a big recommendation for you all. Since we've broken through the US dollar mark, we've added some new items to our shop. Among other things, this Flower of Life Bitcoin t-shirt is actually my favorite t-shirt right now. I don't wear it every day because I have to wash it sometimes, but I definitely wear it a lot. It's a really cool symbol, and of course it has an energetic effect too. You can believe it or not, whether the Flower of Life somehow boosts your life or whatever. Even if it's not true, it's still a cool t-shirt. Check it out below, I'll link you to the shop. There are really awesome products here, like this cool Flower of Life Bitcoin t-shirt. Sky News really went off the rails here. They're commenting here on the current Bitcoin price movement. Bitcoin has created extraordinary wealth for free thinkers and people from all walks of life. Possibly a better outcome than just making the already rich even richer. It's super crazy that we have such positive coverage now. You can also see here that Bitcoin can solve the problem of the gap between the rich and the poor, because with Bitcoin, we no longer have the Cantillon effect. That means the rich won't get richer just because they're very close to the money creation process. Instead, we have a fair distribution mechanism. Anyone can participate in Bitcoin, whether you're poor or rich. That means the rich won't get richer just because they're very close to the money creation process. Instead, we have a fair distribution mechanism. Bitcoin is for all. Everyone is equal. In the end, you have the same opportunities. And whether you have 10 Bitcoin, 1 Bitcoin, or 1,000,000 Bitcoin, you don't have more say in the network. Every user generally has the same voice in the network, and it's completely open and transparent. And this is being increasingly recognized by the mainstream media. What I almost forgot to mention is that Dennis Porter has announced that he will be making a massive announcement in the next 24 hours. He even wrote today that it will be delayed a bit longer. Somehow, in the next few hours, he might announce it. I have no idea if there's going to be some big reveal or something, but he definitely says that before he makes the announcement, he can confirm that there are now 2 major nations that will be implementing a Bitcoin reserve outside of the U.S. So 2 more big countries are going to follow suit, and right now there are 11 states in the US that are going to introduce a Bitcoin reserve strategy, so they'll be presenting the law, the draft. And that's basically exactly what I often say, that it could happen that the Bitcoin Reserve Act is introduced at the federal level in the US before Donald Trump can implement it at the state level. And now something very, very interesting could be unfolding here. Pierre Rochard is putting out a really fascinating message here, and I gotta say, this is an idea or concept that's coming up more and more lately, but to be honest, it always seems to pop up when the Bitcoin price is skyrocketing. But Pierre Rochard usually has crystal clear analyses, and he says here, this could be the last Bitcoin cycle. Saylor has unlocked the speculative attack. So, this could be the last Bitcoin cycle because Saylor has kicked off the speculative Bitcoin attack. And that means we might see so much capital flowing into Bitcoin that we won't experience such severe bear markets anymore. I don't believe that we won't see bear markets anymore, but I definitely think the bear markets might be significantly weakened because we've now kicked off this global speculative race for Bitcoin. As we see it now, several states are opening up, countries are opening up, Chile is getting on board, Vancouver has opened up, various mayors in the US are coming around saying they're pro-Bitcoin in 2021. All these politicians, I mean the whole White House, the whole, let's say, Trump crew, they're all somehow involved in Bitcoin. We now have a potential speculative attack on multiple levels. Michael Saylor is launching a speculative attack, and there might be new companies joining in like Microsoft and Tesla. I don't know if they're going to make speculative attacks, but they're definitely candidates that could keep accumulating Bitcoin. We have the Bitcoin ETFs, and while they aren't exactly speculative attacks, there's still a massive inflow into Bitcoin in 2021. With options, you could almost call it a speculative attack because you can work with a small leverage or something like that. There are also more and more individuals who are buying Bitcoin with leverage. It's definitely not a recommendation or anything, but the bottom line is that people are starting to realize the dollar is heading towards zero. We basically have to use the dollar to get into debt so we can buy Bitcoin. And that's basically the speculative attack that's happening in the background. 2021, which is what Pierre is warning about. And when the speculative attack is really underway, it could have two effects. First, that Bitcoin is skyrocketing, like Bitcoin is going to the moon. And the second is that the dollar rapidly loses value. Not just the dollar, it could also be the euro and so on. It could also be other fiat currencies. You don't have to go into debt in dollars. You can also get into debt in euros or other shitcoins. It's probably even smarter to get into debt in weaker currencies, like, for example, euro or whatever. The euro doesn't look good right now. It could really be that the euro is crashing hard right now, even before the US dollar. And if you want to be set up right here, I definitely recommend checking out Bitcoin. The easiest way to buy Bitcoin in Europe. With the code Bitcoin Hotel, you can get up to 20% off the fees when buying Bitcoin. I'll put a link below where you can easily buy Bitcoin. As I said, stop by our shop. There are some really cool t-shirts like this Flower of Life t-shirt here. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button so we can really gain some traction with the channel and boost our subscriber numbers soon. It doesn't cost you anything. For me, it means the world. Thank you for watching. See you later. Peace out.